Good morning, students. Here we come up with the gross anatomy of the thoracic duct, a very, very important lecture. So, the gross anatomy of thoracic duct, this is the title. And here we come up with the definition. So, thoracic duct will carry the lymphatic drainage of the entire body except, now this is very important, it will carry the lymphatic drainage of entire body except, now here this except I will use it as minus sign, except the right side of the head and neck, except the right upper limb, right side of head and neck, right upper limb, except the right lung and thoracic wall, the right side, except the right side of the heart, and except the convex surface of the liver. So, except these places, the entire lymphatic drainage of the body will be through thoracic duct. So, this question can be asked in one mark question answer on lot of MCQs also. So, remember these 5 places. Number 1, right side of head and neck. Number 2, right side of the upper limb, right upper limb. Number 3, the right side of the lung and thoracic wall. Number 4, the right side of the heart. And number 5, the convex superior surface of the liver. So except these 5 places, the entire lymphatic drainage will be through the thoracic duct. This is the definition. So thoracic duct, except these 5 places, the entire lymphatic drainage of the body will be carried through thoracic duct. This is the definition. Now, the size. Now please note down, it is 45 centimeter or roughly around 18 inches in size. This is also asked in MCQs. So 45 centimeter or 18 inches in size, that is in length total. Now, what will be the appearance? Now the appearance is, it is beaded in appearance because it is provided with so many valves. So there are presence of various valves present, as a result of which it will give beaded appearance, thoracic duct. Now we come across to the course. Now in the entire course, we will discuss the relations also. So along with the course, we will discuss the relations. Now the thoracic duct will start from, let us start from here. This is a short segment. So here we will just draw the longitudinal course, and on the right hand side of this longitudinal course, we will draw the various relations in the form of cross sections. So therefore, we start with, for example, let me start here with this diaphragm, aortic opening of diaphragm, and here I will show T12. So therefore, our thoracic duct will start from lower border of T12 in continuation from cisterna chyli. So upper end of cisterna chyli will continue as thoracic duct, green color I will use for thoracic duct. Upper end of cisterna chyli will continue from lower border of T12. So it will start from lower border of T12 as upward continuation of cisterna chyli, and this thoracic duct will then pass through aortic opening of diaphragm. Through the aortic opening of diaphragm, it will enter the posterior mediastinum. So here it enters the posterior mediastinum. Here I will just mention this as aortic opening. This is stage 1. Second will be, this is posterior mediastinum, and this will be stage 2. These relations are very important in thoracic duct. Try and understand with the help of line diagram, it will be very easy. Then at the level of T5, now here this will be the level of T5. This level is very important, where the thoracic duct will cross to the left side. Thoracic duct will cross to the left side, and after crossing to the left side, it will then enter on the left side superior mediastinum. So therefore, third part. Now third segment here, superior mediastinum, and I will mark it as number 3. So here superior mediastinum number 3. Then as it at the level of T5 it has crossed to the left side. This point is important. And then on the left side it will enter superior mediastinum. That is part 3, phase 3. Then it will enter the root of the neck. Now here as it enters the root of the neck at the level of transverse process of, now here transverse process of C7. This level I will write down. So at the level of the root of the neck in front of transverse process of C7, it will produce, now here, it will produce an arch laterally. So it will produce an arch laterally at the level of transverse process of C7. And as it produces an arch laterally, it will then open downwards and forwards. It will open downwards as well as forwards. And where it will open? It will open in the junction of left internal jugular vein and left subclavian vein. So therefore, here it will open at the junction of, let us draw, this will be the internal jugular and this will be the left subclavian vein. So it will open into the left internal jugular and left subclavian vein junction. This is how the thoracic duct will terminate. This is how thoracic duct will terminate into the junction of left internal jugular and left subclavian vein. So therefore, the last course here, we will mention this as, I will mention this as the fourth phase root of neck. So this is the fourth phase in the root of the neck. So therefore, these four phases should be very clear. The entire course we have discussed. Now relations. We are going to discuss the relations now. The entire course is very clear now. Aortic opening of diaphragm 1, 2. It will pass through posterior mediastinum. Then at the level of T5, thoracic 5 vertebrae, it will cross to the left side. At the level of thoracic 5 vertebrae, it will cross to the left side and then enter superior mediastinum, that is 3. And then at the level of transverse process of C7, in front of it, it will cross forwards and laterally, forming an arc where it will open into the junction of left internal jugular, left subclavian vein. This course is root of the neck. It is located in root of the neck. So, number 1, through aortic opening. Number 2, posterior mediastinum. Number 3, superior mediastinum. And number 4, root of the neck. These 4 places we have to draw separate line diagrams and understand the relations. That is very important. Now the relations in the aortic opening. For the relations in the aortic opening, please come on this side. Here, we take this relation on this side. Okay, we'll use this. I hope it is coming. So aortic opening here. First I will draw the aortic opening. I will reduce this arrow so I can draw this aortic opening. And I will mention this as aortic opening. Now in this aortic opening, we are going to put the thoracic duct. Now remember, these are the cross sections, aortic opening cross section. So here, this is the thoracic duct. This one, this structure will be the thoracic duct, beaded in appearance. So I am drawing this cross section of thoracic duct. Now the structure which is lying anterior to the thoracic duct at the level of aortic opening will be the median arcuate ligament. So therefore, I am going to represent that median arcuate ligament as this structure, violet color, and this one will be the median arcuate ligament. Posteriorly, there will be the presence of T12 vertebrae. So posteriorly here, we will show the presence of T12 vertebrae, and therefore I will use orange color to show the presence of T12 vertebrae. So this is the T12 vertebrae here, and we are going to write this as posteriorly T12 vertebrae, anteriorly median arcuate ligament. Please note down. So P, A. A is anterior, P is posterior. Then on the right side, there will be presence of azygous vein. So please draw this azygous vein, and here I am drawing this azygous vein on the right side. So I will name this as azygous vein, and I am going to write this azygous vein as R, right side. And on the left side there will be presence of aorta. So I am going to draw the aorta on the left side. Now here this aorta I am going to draw on the left side, and I am going to mark this as aorta, and I am going to write here left. So these are the relations of the thoracic duct at the level of aortic opening. Many times MCQs are asked in this format that the aortic opening, the relations of thoracic duct anteriorly, median arterial ligament, what is the structure posteriorly, T12, what is the structure right side, azygous vein, what is the structure on the left side. Same MCQs can be constructed. So on the left side aorta, please note down this structure at the level of aortic opening. Now we enter the posterior mediastinum. Now in the posterior mediastinum, once again, here we will draw this box. So it will resemble the posterior mediastinum. I am going to write here posterior mediastinum. This box represents posterior mediastinum. As it enters the posterior mediastinum, the thoracic duct, first we will draw the thoracic duct. So the thoracic duct, if we draw the thoracic duct here and we give the color to this thoracic duct, then here it will be related with, on the right hand side, it will be related with the same structure in posterior mediastinum, that is azygous vein. So therefore here this will be our azygous vein. On the left hand side, it will be related with the same structure, that will be descending thoracic aorta. So here I am going to draw the descending thoracic aorta. Remember, these are the cross sections. These are the cross sections, and in an easy way to understand all the cross sections. So left side descending thoracic aorta, on the right side azygous vein, and both the structures you have to mark. So here I will note down azygous vein, and after writing azygous vein, I will write here R. Here also I will write down aorta, descending thoracic aorta. It is basically descending thoracic aorta, and I will write down L, left side of thoracic duct. Similarly, anterior to the thoracic duct, in posterior mediastinum, there will be relation of, I will draw here, esophagus. So this esophagus will be related, this is the esophagus which is related anteriorly, and this esophagus will be separated from the thoracic duct by right pleural sac, and therefore here we are going to show with yellow color, this will be the right pleural sac, and we are going to name this as esophagus. I will mark O because the spelling starts with O, esophagus, as well as this structure as the right pleural sac or the right lung. So the right root of the right lung, right pleural sac, and esophagus, these structures will form A. A means anterior relations of the thoracic duct. Please note down. And now posterior. Posterior, now this is posterior relation of thoracic duct. Posteriorly, there will be relation of, number one, there will be the veins which will open into the azygous vein. The veins coming from the left side. That is the, from the left side, accessory azygous and hemiazygous veins. So accessory azygous and hemiazygous veins, here we are going to mark accessory azygous and hemiazygous veins. These are the posterior relations. Along with that, there will be right posterior intercostal arteries. So please draw along with them the right posterior intercostal arteries. Here only one artery we are drawing for the sake of clarity. So here we are going to write down the right posterior intercostal arteries. They are also limited to the posterior relation. And along with that, there will be the thoracic vertebrae. So here we are going to simply write down the thoracic vertebral column. So thoracic vertebrae are related posteriorly. Along with that, the opening of the accessory azygous and hemiazygous veins on the right side, transverse opening, the transverse channels, and along with that right posterior intercostal arteries. These three structures, one thoracic vertebrae, two azygous vein and accessory azygous and hemiazygous veins which open into azygous vein, and three right posterior intercostal arteries. These three structures transversely directed, they are related to the posterior to the thoracic duct. Anteriorly, two structures we have drawn, esophagus as well as the right pleural sac. Along with that, the posterior sloping surface of diaphragm will also be there. Anteriorly, there will be posterior sloping surface of diaphragm also. So this completes the relations of thoracic duct in posterior mediastinum. Very important. Please note down. This will be right, left, posterior, anterior. This is the thoracic duct. Now we go above. We enter superior mediastinum. So above, please come on this side. Here we are having space. Here. So we are going to draw here in the form of small rectangle superior mediastinum. Now in the superior mediastinum, once again, very easy, very simple. We will draw here thoracic duct. So please draw this thoracic duct here, and after drawing this thoracic duct, now the relations. First we'll take the right side. Right side there will be now esophagus. So esophagus will come on the right side here. So we are going to draw here the esophagus, and this is the esophagus which is related to the right of thoracic duct. Please note down. So here we are going to mention this as esophagus and R, that is on the right side. Similarly, on the left side, left pleura and left lung. So there will be presence of the left pleura and the left lung. So here we are simply going to draw this structure, put an arrow to indicate this structure as left lung and pleura. And here we will name this as L, left structure. So on the left side, left lung and pleura, on the right side, esophagus. Note the important relation in posterior mediastinum, esophagus was anterior, and as it has crossed to the left side and entered the superior mediastinum, at the level of T5, the thoracic duct will cross to the left side, enter the superior mediastinum, where the esophagus will be related on its right side. So right side is esophagus, left side is left lung and pleura. Now anteriorly, so anteriorly it will be related with, just draw this structure, very simple, the arch of aorta and the left subclavian artery. Very simple. So the arch of aorta and left subclavian artery, please note down. Arch of aorta, left subclavian artery. Now here they will be A, that is anteriorly present. These are the anterior relations of the thoracic duct in superior mediastinum, arch of aorta and left subclavian artery. Very simple. Posteriorly, you can have, write down thoracic vertebrae. How many thoracic vertebrae posteriorly in superior mediastinum which are related to the thoracic duct? Posteriorly, note down T1 to T4. So the upper four thoracic vertebrae are related posterior to the thoracic duct in superior mediastinum. So superior mediastinum we have finished. Anteriorly, arch of aorta, left subclavian artery. On the right side, esophagus. On the left side, left lung and pleura. And posteriorly, upper four thoracic vertebrae. These are the relations of thoracic duct in superior mediastinum. Now, coming up in the root of the neck. So coming up, time constraint. So therefore now in the root of the neck, we'll come on this side. Here we are having space. We'll come on this side. Please come on this side. In the root of the neck, now once again here, we will show with this, and I will write down root of neck. Now in the root of the neck, what will show will be first the thoracic duct. So here we are going to show once again the thoracic duct. Now this entire will be thoracic duct. Now here in the root of the neck, it is better that if we represent the thoracic duct not in transverse section but we will represent this thoracic duct in the form of an arch. So here we show the arch of thoracic duct. We will show this thoracic duct in the form of an arch, because in the root of the neck this is the arch, and it will open where? Into the left internal jugular and left subclavian vein. We know that it will open here into the left internal jugular and left subclavian vein. So this is where it will open. Now here in the root of the neck, what are the structures that are related anterior and what are the structures that are related posterior? Only two relations, but these two relations are so important, they are many times asked in MCQs, as are the relations which are asked in superior mediastinum. Remember these four levels: aorta, aortic opening, posterior mediastinum, superior mediastinum, root of the neck. These structures are asked in MCQs, lot of MCQs. So here only two relations, but please note down, anteriorly the entire thoracic duct as it is arching in the root of the neck, anteriorly there will be presence of carotid sheath. So now here we will represent this carotid sheath with the help of white color. This is the carotid sheath, and in the carotid sheath there will be presence of common carotid artery. This is the common carotid artery. Along with common carotid artery there will be presence of internal jugular vein, and there will be presence of vagus nerve. So carotid sheath, common carotid artery, internal jugular vein and vagus nerve, these structures will form anterior relations to the thoracic duct in the root of the neck. So here we need to mention anteriorly in the root of the neck there will be carotid sheath, and there will be presence of common carotid artery, then internal jugular vein, and there will be vagus nerve. Please note down all these structures, they are asked in MCQs. So common carotid sheath, along with that common carotid artery, internal jugular vein and the vagus nerve will be related anteriorly to the thoracic duct. Now note down, these structures are on the left side. So you have to mention here the left side carotid sheath, the left side common carotid artery, left side internal jugular vein and the left side vagus nerve. Because it is related, it will open in the left internal jugular and left subclavian vein. Thoracic duct will terminate in the junction of the left internal jugular and left subclavian vein. That is why it is on the left side. So therefore anterior relations are over. Now posterior relations. Posterior relations are extremely important. And for the posterior relations, what I will do will be, we will draw here all the posterior relations. Now posterior relations, number one, we will slightly draw the posterior relations on either side of anterior relations. So it will be easy for us to understand. So therefore the first structure which we will draw will be the left scalenus anterior muscle and the left phrenic nerve. So here we shall draw here the scalenus anterior muscle. This is the scalenus anterior muscle, and along with that there will be the left phrenic nerve which is located posteriorly, left phrenic nerve. And both the structures, left scalenus anterior muscle and left phrenic nerve, they are covered by prevertebral fascia. So here what we'll do is, if we draw the scalenus anterior muscle, now this is how we will draw the entire scalenus anterior muscle. We will cover this, and above that the left phrenic nerve. So here we will mention this as posterior relations, and in the posterior relations the left scalenus anterior muscle and the left phrenic nerve. So this is how we have to write the left phrenic nerve and the left scalenus anterior muscle posteriorly. The first part, this is the first segment posteriorly. Now the second segment posteriorly. Now posteriorly the second segment will be, here I will just rub this anterior. So posteriorly the second segment will be, very important, very interesting, the left sympathetic chain and the left inferior cervical sympathetic ganglion. So here we go, left sympathetic chain and the left sympathetic inferior cervical sympathetic ganglion. This is how we draw posteriorly. And here, this we mark it as the left. This will be the left sympathetic chain and inferior cervical sympathetic ganglion. Which side? Left side. So two structures are very clear. The left scalenus anterior muscle and the left phrenic nerve, both of them enclosed by prevertebral fascia. Then second structure will be the left sympathetic chain and left inferior cervical sympathetic ganglion. Then we come to the third structure. Remember, these are the structures related to the posterior of the thoracic duct, where in the root of the neck. Now third structure, extremely important, vertebral artery and vein. So therefore, here we go with this vertebral artery and vertebral vein. So this structure which we will draw, and we shall mark it as, please mark this structure as vertebral artery, and along with vertebral artery there will be vertebral vein. This is structure number 3. Now we come to structure number 4. This is really important. Thyrocervical trunk. Of course, it is a branch of the first part of subclavian artery, as vertebral artery is also a branch of first part of subclavian artery. So thyrocervical trunk, which is a branch of the first part of subclavian artery. So thyrocervical trunk, you have to mention this. And then 3 branches of thyrocervical trunk, that also we need to mention. What are those 3 branches? They will be the inferior thyroid, then there will be transverse cervical, and there will be the suprascapular artery. So these 4 structures are related posterior to the thoracic duct. So many times it is asked in MCQ also. So thyrocervical trunk, yes, and its 3 branches. What are they? Inferior thyroid, transverse cervical, suprascapular. So you just need to show these 3 different arrows. And here we go with the 3 different arrows. Number 1, see here, we go this as inferior thyroid, and we mark it as here inferior thyroid. And 2 different arrows which we mark from here, please show in this direction. And these 2 arrows, we will mark it as, here we are going to mark these 2 arrows as the suprascapular, lower, and above that transverse cervical artery. So these 3 arteries, inferior thyroid, transverse cervical artery, suprascapular artery, they are branches of thyrocervical trunk which will form structure number 4, posterior relations of the thoracic duct. And now structure number 5. Now this is really very important. That is the first part of left subclavian artery. Note down, first part of left subclavian artery. This is very, very important. First part of left subclavian artery. So therefore, very simple, we mark this subclavian artery like this. And we are going to mark it as the first part of the left subclavian artery, structure number 5. Once again I repeat, posterior to the thoracic duct at the root of the neck, 5 structures. First structure will be very simple. In the first structure, there will be the left scalenus anterior muscle, fibers, left scalenus anterior muscle, in front of it left phrenic nerve, and both of them are closed by the prevertebral fascia. Structure number 2, there will be presence of the left sympathetic chain, left cervical sympathetic chain, and presence of left inferior cervical sympathetic ganglion. Structure number 2. Structure number 3, vertebral artery along with that vertebral vein, which are branches of first part of subclavian artery. Structure number 4, thyrocervical trunk, which is also a branch of the first part of the subclavian artery, and its 3 branches, inferior thyroid, suprascapular, transverse cervical. And structure number 5, first part of the left subclavian artery. Please note down these individual structures. They will form the posterior relations of the thoracic duct, where in the root of the neck. So here we finish the relations of the thoracic duct, all the 4, at the level of aortic opening, at the level of the posterior mediastinum, at the level of superior mediastinum, at the level of the root of the neck. Now tributaries. Now we shall draw the tributaries. Please come on this side. Here we will write the tributaries on this side. In the tributaries, the the easiest way to remember the tributaries will be, for example, tributaries of thoracic duct. Now, with the help of arrows, first tributaries will be, for that we will use tributaries to mark with yellow color. So, these two arrows we are going to mark, and centrally we are going to draw this thoracic duct. So, this is the thoracic duct, and the arrows which are coming, we are going to mark the first set of tributaries, and these are the right and left posterior intercostal lymphatic ducts. The right and left, both of them, the right and the left posterior intercostal lymphatic channels coming from lower 6 intercostal spaces. So please note down the lower 6 intercostal spaces. This is very important. So the first set of tributaries of the thoracic duct, this is also asked in MCQ so many times in 1 mark question answer. First set of tributary of thoracic duct, this is thoracic duct, will be the right and left posterior intercostal lymphatic channels from lower 6 intercostal spaces, thoracic intercostal spaces, lower 6. Then you draw the ascending, because their name will be ascending. These arrows we have put descending because the name of this right and left posterior intercostal is right and left descending lymphatic channels. So sometimes they are also asked, what are the right and left lymphatic descending channels which drain into thoracic duct? They are the descending channels because they are draining the lymphatic from lower 6 thoracic intercostal spaces, right and left side in the thoracic region, to the thoracic duct. That is why they are called the descending lymphatic channels. And these are the ascending lymphatic channels. And these ascending lymphatic channels, they are known as right and left, both right and left, the right as well as the left ascending lumbar lymphatic channels, the ascending lumbar lymph channels, or the ascending lumbar lymph sacs, or ascending lumbar lymphatic channels. Now, they will drain from upper lumbar lymphatic spaces. From the upper lumbar lymph nodes, upper lumbar lymphatic spaces, they are draining through ascending lumbar lymphatic channels. They will open into the thoracic duct. So this is the second set. Here I will name the second set of tributary. This I will name the first set of tributary. First set of tributary from the lower 6 intercostal spaces. Second set from the upper lumbar intercostal spaces, right and left. Now third set of tributary. Remember, we shift on the left side. This is left, right and left. So we stick on the left side. Now third set will be on the left side. Please draw in this direction. Left jugular lymphatic trunk. So here we are going to write down, please write down the left jugular lymphatic trunk, and we will mark it as number 3. Left jugular lymphatic trunk. Draining the lymph from the left side of head and neck. Draining the lymph from the left side of head and neck. Which one? The left jugular lymphatic channel. Number 3. Now number 4. How easy it is? See here, how easy it is. It is transverse. So the left, it is known as this one is known as the left subclavian lymphatic channel. And here, structure tributary number 4. This is tributary number 4. It will drain from the left upper limb. It will drain the lymphatic drainage from the left upper limb. Which one? The left subclavian lymphatic trunk. That is tributary number 4. So tributary number 1 will be the lower 6 posterior intercostal spaces, the right and left descending posterior intercostal spaces from the lower 6 thoracic intercostal spaces. Tributary number 2 will be right and left ascending lumbar lymphatic trunks. Then tributary number 3 will be the left internal jugular, left jugular lymphatic trunk. The left jugular lymphatic trunk draining from the left side of head and neck. Tributary number 4, left subclavian lymphatic trunk, which will be draining from the left upper limb. Tributary number 5. Now here, the tributary number 5, this arrow, and we will write down tributary number 5 as the left bronchomediastinal lymphatic trunk. Left bronchomediastinal channel or left bronchomediastinal lymph nodes. They are draining from, where will they drain from? The left lung and left side of the heart. So please note down the left lung and left side of the heart. This is really very, very important. The left side of the heart and the left lung through left bronchomediastinal lymph node. That is tributary number 5. And tributary number 6, this is the last one. Tributary number 6. Of course, this is also on the left side. That is what we are drawing on the left side. Tributary number 6, we are going to write down the left posterior intercostal lymph nodes from upper 6 intercostal spaces, but on left side. From the upper 6 intercostal spaces. Which side? Left side. It will pass through left posterior intercostal lymph nodes, upper 6 intercostal spaces, and the name given is the left posterior mediastinal lymph nodes. The name of this will be the left posterior mediastinal lymph nodes. So, through the left posterior mediastinal lymph nodes, the lymphatic drainage will be carried off the lymphatic drainage of what? Of upper 6 intercostal thoracic spaces. That will be on the left side. So that is why it is also known as the left posterior intercostal lymph nodes, draining the upper 6 thoracic intercostal spaces of the left side through the left posterior mediastinal lymph nodes. These are the 6 tributaries of thoracic duct. Once again, I'll make you revise the 6 tributaries. Very simple. Thoracic duct, 2 descending lymphatic tributaries coming from the lower 6 thoracic intercostal spaces, right and left side. Then 2 coming from below, the ascending lumbar lymphatic channels coming from the lumbar lymphatic spaces. These are the 2 sets, 2 tributaries. Third tributary, left jugular, coming from the left side of the head and neck, left jugular lymphatic trunk. Fourth will be left subclavian lymphatic trunk coming from the left upper limb. Fifth tributary will be the left bronchomediastinal. Fifth will be the left bronchomediastinal lymphatic channel or lymph nodes coming and draining from left side of the lung. That is the left lung, entire left lung and left side of the heart. Left lung and entire left side of the heart will be draining through the left bronchomediastinal lymph node. That is tributary number 5, left lung and left side of the heart. Tributary number 6, draining the upper 6 intercostal spaces, and they will be carried through the left posterior intercostal lymph nodes, upper 6 intercostal spaces on the left side through left posterior mediastinal lymph nodes. So these are the 6 tributaries of the thoracic duct. Here we finish the entire gross anatomy of thoracic duct. Thank you very much.